Andrei Chikatilo, also known as the Butcher of Rostov, was a Soviet serial killer who was active between 1978 and 1990. He is believed to have killed at least 52 women, children, and young men, but the actual number of his victims may be much higher. Chikatilo was born on October 16, 1936, in Yabloknoye, a small village in the Soviet Union, now Ukraine. Chikatilo had a difficult childhood. His father was captured by the Germans during World War II, and his mother was left to raise him and his siblings on her own. She was often abusive, and Chikatilo was bullied by his classmates, which led to him developing a lifelong problem with impotence. After completing his military service, Chikatilo went to college and earned a degree in Russian literature. He began his career as a teacher, but was fired from his job in 1960 after being caught molesting a student. He then worked as a factory worker and later as a party official. Chikatilo's first known murder occurred on December 22, 1978, when he killed a 9-year-old girl named Yelena Zakotnova. He lured her to a forest near Shakhty, Russia, under the pretense of helping her find a lost kitten. Once they were in the forest, he attempted to rape her, but was unable to get an erection. In a fit of rage, he stabbed her repeatedly and mutilated her body. Over the next few years, Chikatilo killed sporadically, targeting young women, children, and young men. He would often lure his victims to remote areas under the pretense of offering them a job or a ride home. Once they were alone, he would rape, torture, and mutilate them before killing them. In some cases, he would also bite off and eat his victims' nipples, genitals, or other body parts. One of Chikatilo's most brutal murders occurred on September 15, 1981, when he killed a 17-year-old girl named Larisa Tkachenko. He lured her to a forest near Rostov-on-Don, Russia, and proceeded to rape and mutilate her. He then attempted to strangle her, but was unable to do so. In a fit of frustration, he stabbed her over 50 times before finally killing her. Chikatilo's killing spree continued throughout the 1980s, and he became more brazen and reckless over time. He would often travel to other cities to find victims and would even kill in broad daylight. Despite the massive manhunt that was launched to catch him, Chikatilo managed to evade the authorities for many years. Chikatilo was eventually caught in 1990 after a chance encounter with a police officer who found him acting suspiciously near a train station. After questioning him, the officer found a knife and rope in his possession, and Chikatilo was subsequently arrested. He later confessed to 56 murders, although he was officially charged with 52. Chikatilo's trial was one of the longest and most sensational in Russian history, and it drew massive crowds and media attention. He was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to death. Chikatilo was executed on February 14, 1994, and his body was buried in an unmarked grave in a prison cemetery. Chikatilo's case was notable for several reasons. It was one of the first high-profile serial killer cases in the Soviet Union, and it highlighted the inadequacies of the Soviet criminal justice system. Chikatilo's trial was also the first in Soviet history to be open to the public and broadcast on television. Psychologists who evaluated Chikatilo after his arrest described him as a sadistic sexual predator who suffered from severe sexual dysfunction. They also noted that he had a history of mental illness and had been hospitalized several times for psychiatric treatment. Chikatilo's case remains one of the most notorious in Russian criminal history, and his crimes continue to fascinate and horrify people around the world. Thanks for tuning in to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases and updates.